So welcome back to DC Silver Age Storytime, and today's story comes from Action Comics number 257. This was published in October 1959 with story by Otto Binder and art by Wayne Boring, and this one is called Clark Kent, the Reporter of Steel. Thank me, Kent. You're not timid and weak anymore. My ray has made you a second Superman. Yes, thanks, Luthor. I must pretend his machine works or he'll know I'm Superman. Is it a bird, a plane, Superman? No, it's Super Kent. Such is the startled cry that rings out in the metropolis one day as Clark Kent flies and performs super feats. Why is Clark openly revealing the superpowers he secretly possesses as Superman? You will find out the astounding answer in The Reporter of Steel. What a scoop, Jimmy. Clark Kent lifting that 2-ton Superman statue. How did he get superpowers? So we open in the prison with Lex Luthor. The warden allowed me to keep this radio. Boy, that is a big mistake. He's repeatedly done shenanigans with any kind of electronic equipment. Little does he know I disassembled it and used the parts to make a super ray projector. Now I'll use the tweezers to remove the speck of element exium I hid in the fillings of my hollow tooth before Superman captured me. It will furnish super energy for my device. So he's got a couple devices, including his atom transmitter, which will project his image outside the prison walls for 10 minutes. It will be a solid image of me and the super ray device I'm holding. That's quite a power, or quite an invention. So he goes to his old hideout, but his gang is gone. However, because his plan is, he's worried the super ray will possibly kill the person it gives superpowers to. So he's going to use one of his gang members as a guinea pig. But what he finds is Clark Kent and Lois Lane, they know that the gang has left, and so they're just kind of looking at the hideout, see if there's any clues. He blasts Clark Kent, which seems to have no effect, and then he's just kind of like, well, let's see, I'll just push this cornice down on him. And Lois says, "Look out, Clark, that stone is falling." Great Scott, my secret identity is exposed. But Luthor, being the genius, comes over and says, "Never mind, Miss Lane. Let me explain. That Kent isn't Superman. My super ray gave him superpowers that last for days." Unknown to him, I already had superpowers. Does his device really work? He spots a fly which seems to have superpowers, so that convinces Superman that it actually works. As a test of your new super strength, Kent, lift that parked car. But why did you give me superpowers, Luthor? So he explains that it was an experiment to see if the ray would kill. And after 3 days, he's going to test it on himself. So he probably would have been better just to not say anything. But then he has to disassemble his unit temporarily because Clark Kent and Lois rat him out because he stupidly walked up and told them. So Clark Kent now is able to expose his superpowers. When the newspaper press gets jammed, he uses his super strength to get it rolling again. Then he sends his robot out on a mission to the moon to explain why Superman isn't showing up. Look, Superman, Clark has all your superpowers. Great guns, how did this happen? And that's the robot. And he travels off to the moon for, I guess, a couple days. This extra just went out. People will be curious to see you, Clark. They'll probably mob the office soon. So he goes to the Metropolis Bowl to demonstrate his powers, but he's charging $10. Great Caesar's ghost, Clark. Are you trying to make money from this? Superman never did. Superman was a fool to give a free show. I'm going to cash in while I have temporary superpowers. I could become rich in the next 3 days. Goodness, Perry, Clark has turned greedy. And so he's demonstrating his superpowers as he's pounded into the ground like a nail, allows a shark to bite his head. Meanwhile, he shows that Superman is on the moon, and Superman has discovered a lost, dead civilization that he will transform into a moon metropolis to prepare it for whenever humans start to occupy the moon. Clark, aren't you ashamed of making money with your superpowers? Don't be silly, Lois. I want more, more, more. Tomorrow I'll gather riches much faster out at sea. So he gathers sunken pirate treasure, silver deposit, oyster shells with pearls. He's having fun. And Luthor's just kind of amused. I didn't think Kent would be so money hungry, but who cares? Just so he survives for 3 days, proving the super ray is safe for me. He starts squeezing coal into diamonds. Your greed blinded you, Clark. Superman never made diamonds in large quantities because then they would flood the market. All diamonds would become cheap and worthless. That's right. Well, I'll just add these few to my fortune. And he hears an alarm and goes off and takes care of a few criminals. I want the reward offered for capturing the leader of the gang, cold hard cash. Bah, some Superman you are. He fights crime for nothing. Then he decides to make, I don't know why he does this, because they ain't much money. This guy will take on anyone who can beat him for $5,000. And so Clark Kent comes in. Wait, you're Super Kent. Your super blows would kill me. This isn't fair. I refuse. You can't back out, champ. The sign outside says any challengers, which includes me. So he has no effect on Super Kent. By knocking you out, I'll pull... well, this is... okay. I'll pull my punch so I won't really hurt you. This is the lightest... I don't know. I feel like that would hurt him if somebody flies like that. Boo! Cheat! Super bully! You beat up a kid for money. Dear me, you're calling me names. I'll be crying all the way to the bank. Ha ha! So he sees this balloon with millionaires aboard, and apparently it is being blown towards a building. If you people want to be rescued, drop all your money and your jewelry in my hat. Better hurry, you haven't much time. You super scoundrel, this is almost like robbery. One puff of my super breath would save your blimp, but I'll lasso it instead. You deserve a more spectacular rescue for your big fee. So Lois is really disturbed by his super greed. What will you do with all that money, Clark? You can't possibly spend it all on yourself. Aha, I get it, Lois. You're hinting I should share it with you, eh? You're ready to spurn Superman and marry me for my money. You're a gold digger. She slaps him, but only hurts her hand. So he calls a conference of reporters. Great guns, there's hardly room for us to sit down with all the wealth around. Listen, all of you, in 3 days I've gathered more riches than any king ever had. But my superpowers will end at midnight. Now I'll show you what I intend to do with my super wealth. And so he has a list of charities he's planning on giving to. Now I see, Clark, Luthor's ray affected you so that you were mentally compelled to gather wealth, so that you could give it away. Luthor's ray actually made you super generous, even if you didn't realize it till now. What a story. So when Luthor reads it, he's upset. Blast it! The super ray had a bad after effect. It made Kent so generous it compelled him to use his superpowers to gather money for charity. The same thing would happen to me if I took a dose of the ray. So he just smashes the ray. My plan worked. I only pretended I was driven by super greed, which proved to be super generosity in disguise. It was the only way to trick Luthor into smashing his super ray. Boy, Luthor is dumb. Now to recall my super robot from the moon. He can fish up sunken pirate treasure and pay back all the people I got money from. It will ease my conscience. Yeah, because he gave all that money away to charities. Superman will continue to do his super feats for free as usual. We're glad Super Kent is now an ordinary human being. I'm just glad there's no Super Luthor. He'll never know his plot would have worked. Yep, it would have. It is interesting that apparently his... well, I guess we don't really know, but it seems like his ray makes you exactly as strong as Superman. So, yeah, Luthor is tricked once again.